The 2022 Men's FIFA World Cup kicks off this week, and Canada will be competing in the tournament for the first time in 36 years. Of course, this year's championship is not without controversy. Human rights group Amnesty International says that the construction for the tournament led to the deaths of more than 1,000 migrant workers. They claim that workers were involved in a coercive system that forbade changing professions, involved dangerous working conditions, and required operating in extremely high heat. So Amnesty International now calling for the nation to pay $440 million in restitution. Syed Hussain is the executive director of the Migrant Workers Alliance for Change. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
What does life look like for workers in Qatar right now?
I think what we need to understand is that the life of migrant workers in Qatar is actually quite similar in some ways to that in Canada, which is that people are tied to the employer. Employers control where they work, when they work. In addition, employers can seize people's passports and are able to force people to work in more dangerous and difficult conditions, and workers are not able to complain. And that's the core issue. Workers aren't able to speak up when something is happening, and when there are deaths, there are no investigations. All of what I've said is also true in Canada, and that's the problem. Of course, in Qatar, what we're seeing is a level of injustice that is much higher. People are working in extreme heat conditions. The numbers of workers working at a particular site are very high. We're talking about tens of thousands of people. I saw that you said at the beginning that Amnesty said 1,000 people have died. There are reports of up to 6,000 people having died since the construction began on the stadium. And there's all of this debate about deaths because in a lot of cases, the deaths are uninvestigated, which is one of the demands right now, is to ensure that deaths are investigated because they're simply written off as, human circulation, which is like your heart stopped, which that doesn't mean why they died.
You know, when you look at the buildings, and we will be looking at them during the FIFA World Cup in the arenas where they're playing, it's hard not to keep those numbers in mind as the sacrifices that were made to build those stadiums. Qatar has responded to the criticisms about human rights, saying they are working to improve their laws. Have those reforms had any real effect?
I think the fact that you say, look, we will be looking at it, the fact that we started off by saying Canada is going to participate in it, is that we've all actually accepted this immense abuse, violence, injustice, and death, right? Why do we have to look at it? Why do we have to send sports teams there? We're basically saying it's fine, it's good enough. And that's the problem. What Qatar has done is that it has basically created complaints mechanisms. But a complaints mechanism only works if the worker has the power to speak up, which means they can go complain and they won't be deported. Mm-hmm. They won't lose their wages. They won't become homeless when the employers, for the fact of complaining, kick them out. Again, all of this happens in Canada too. And so the complaints mechanisms are not working. They have done a few hundred investigations. No one has really been fined, and people continue to suffer and die. And I think that the entire world, including everybody who will watch these matches, including everyone who plays in these matches, is in one way or the other supporting that injustice. And we have to really face that. We have to be able to at least say with open mouths that that's what we're doing.
Hussain, I want to thank you for joining us this morning as we're looking ahead to that tournament starting, and important to keep issues like this top of mind. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.